Nan, can you tell us a little bit how the Seven Sisters began?
Nancy called me up and said she was trying to get together a group to do I think basically it started out as a quilt show, but we went on to incorporate other people around art that is made out of pieces. So each of the forms that we work in, things are brought together by using pieces to create the art. So that was sort of the basis of the idea.
Nancy, it sounds like you started this whole thing, did you?
Well, Mickey and I did. Mickey gave me the idea that mosaics and quilts are based on pieces, and you take little pieces of things and put them back together in a new arrangement. And we thought, oh, this is very common with women's art. Women take little pieces of abandoned stuff. When we came together, it was not really planned this way, but we have evolved. Mickey said she wanted another mosaic artist, and I said I wanted another quilt artist. And then we started naming people who would fit into the show, and we evolved into a group of 7. The first time we had a meeting, which was a year ago, I think as a group we fell in love with each other. And we named ourselves, and we chose the show, and we decided to visit each other's studios to get more information about each other's work. And seeing each other's studios has been very eye-opening for all of us and inspiring.
How do you relate to each other as a group? What do you get from the group, Nikki?
Oh, I get so much inspiration because I'm fairly new to Willits itself. I've only been here 4.5 years, and I met Nancy through mutual friends. So I didn't really know all these women, and their work is so beautiful and so inspirational to me. And like I said before, I feel honored to be in it, but when we meet at each other's studios and see how each other lives and what they do and what's their passion, their inspiration, and enjoy each other's company, that's the most exciting part of this group. It's more exciting than anything else because I've been turned on to these great women, and all of us are so different. It's a kind, creative group, and I love it. I'm going to feel sad if our group doesn't continue on after the show.
Did you make a conscious decision to be an artist?
You know, I think I did. I grew up in a family that was pretty much void of anything artistic, I was not having a very good time in high school, as a lot of people don't, and I took an art class, and I found out that there was something out there that I was actually good at, that I really enjoyed, and I decided, yeah, this is what I want to do. And so I think, yes, it was a conscious thing. I didn't grow up immersed in a lot of culture. I had to seek it out, almost as an adult, and nurture it within myself. So yeah.
How about you, Nancy?
Yes, I did make a conscious decision. I was always an artist as a child. I started drawing early. My father was an architect, and I started drawing house plans when I was 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
And he always inspired me to be visually attuned to my environment. And I followed in his footsteps, and I became an architectural designer. When I retired from residential design, I decided, okay, now I'm going to be an artist. And I've actually been making quilts for since I was 20, literally. I've made dozens of quilts, which were given away to family. And a friend of mine said to me, Nancy, how is anyone going to see your art if you're always giving it away? So I decided to stop giving it away and collect it so that I could show it to other people. And that's when I really became an artist.
Vicki, how about you?
Well, I didn't get into art until about 6 years ago when I retired from law, and I took a mosaic class. And so now I'm just in love with the medium.
What compels you to create artwork?
Me?
Yes.
I guess the pleasure I get in the actual production, the creation of the design, and then the production is like a meditation. As I sit and cut each piece, I use a tile saw a lot. It really gives me a sense of peace. And when I'm not doing it, I'm always kind of thinking I want to be doing it. So then I get back into it, and I feel so satisfied even after 2 or 3 hours of making progress on a piece. Then I'm done, because I really can't work more than a few hours at a time because it's physically demanding. But I don't know if I'll ever stop doing art. Right now I just love it.
Now, what artists do you identify with, or who had the greatest impact on your work?
What influences me are aspects of art across a really broad spectrum. I was recently at a Matisse show in the city, and there was a painting, and there was like one detail on that painting, which was this just luscious brush stroke at the bottom of the painting that defined the chair. And it was something that most people wouldn't notice because they notice the main part of the painting. But for me, it's things like that, things that are like surprising. I'm really inspired by a lot of art that has to do with indigenous cultures, body painting, something like little shards of pottery found, ancient artifacts. I'm really into a lot of patterning. So that's the thing that actually inspires me with art, as opposed to specific artists or specific times or traditions of art.
How about you, Nancy?
I thought a lot about this question last night after you sent it to us, and I must say I've been influenced by a lot of artists. I've been to a lot of art museums in major cities, and the piece of artwork that stands out most in my mind was a Caravaggio, who was from 16th century Italy. I saw the card sharks in person. Caravaggio was famous for using light to illuminate certain aspects of the painting, and because of that, when I was standing in front of the painting, I felt like it was breathing. I felt like it was vibrating with life. I felt like it came out into the room and touched me. And I'd never had that experience with a piece of art before. So even though I've seen Picasso at the MoMA in New York, I saw Guernica. It was very influential. So I've seen some major fine artists, but the art that impresses me the most is people's art. The way people who are not formally trained as artists can make up art from their own inspiration in daily life.
What artists do you identify with, or who have had the most impact on your work?
Well, to start out with, I have an uncle, my uncle Robert Quijada, who is a fine artist. He passed a couple of years ago, but he inspired me throughout my life. But I never thought that would be something I'd get into. Once I did get into mosaics, which I love, George Yepes, who is a Chicano artist from LA, and being a Latina myself, was my biggest inspiration. His work incorporates Madonna-like images with street faces, and he does murals and all kinds of fantastic stuff, but his work got me excited. And instead of just wanting to do pretty little mosaics, I started thinking, oh, how can I take this and put, you know, I do use photograph in my work, and I'll use photographic faces and pieces with this hard substance and create movement and all of the stuff that I see in his work. And then Frida Kahlo, of course, because she represents freedom and her bravery and her art. Those are the two main influences besides my uncle. So I'm inspired by those people.
Let's talk a little bit more about being in Mendocino County and being an artist.
I wanted to say about Mendocino County that the effect it's had on me is I've been more in touch with the environment. For example, spider webs. I have seen extraordinary spider webs in the forest where I live. I always had a fear of spiders, but after I saw this web that was gorgeous, and so I have a spider web quilt. I used to avoid spider webs, but when you see it in its context, in the environment, it becomes beautiful, and that's what's inspired me most about Mendocino County.